I will start the meeting. 7 o'clock, please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. We'll start with a roll call. Patrice Scott is here. Howard Burnham is excused. Omer C. Ahern Jr.
Present.
Butch Cushing.
Present.
And Tom McLaughlin. Okay, all are here. And our alternate Freeman Plummer is also not here this evening. So we will turn to the minutes of June 6th. And I'll ask any members if they have any corrections. I found a few, and I wanted to see how Mr. Murphy would like to handle and the board any punctuation corrections. It's a little, there's just a couple words that I thought needed to be clarified. So on page 1, in the paragraph of the third bullet, or on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, seventh line, the several tasks, plural, involved. See that, Brian?
Am I on the correct page?
Okay, it's the first page of the minutes. It's the third bullet and the seventh line, the several tasks involved. And then the last bullet before the next heading, Howard Burnham verified that the brewery is on the agenda.
Oh.
Instead of, doesn't make sense. He's not on the agenda, the brewery is.
Yes.
Okay, and then under public hearing opened, Kathy Bentwood made a request for non-alcoholic beer. Okay.
That didn't get passed, right?
No, that was included. It was her request. Okay, on page 3, in the middle, the first bullet, right in the middle of the paragraph, this sentence doesn't make sense. It says they have been certified recently in the greater Nashua areas as effectively ending veteran homelessness. I believe it was recognized. You don't really become certified in being effective. They have been recognized recently.
Which bullet was that again?
That was the first bullet, that big middle paragraph there.
Okay.
And it's right in the middle. After, okay, the sentence starts with veteran homelessness, period. They have been recognized. Okay. And then 2 sentences before the second bullet. Okay. The project happened as, 3 sentences before. They believe they can pool, not pull, pool all necessary facilities in the area. Pool all, I think what they meant was pool all the programs. Does anybody else see anything? On the next page, page 4, on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th bullet, Patrice Scott, I would say, noted that the project is one of a network. I didn't ask if he felt like it was a network. I mean, just noted that this project was one of a network of veterans housing.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And then third bullet from the bottom, I wanted to ask the board's recollection on that discussion. Remember, we asked them about that Soldier On, I think it was you, Tom, that said, noted that Soldier On had made a pilot. They actually had a pilot, so I wondered if we should put i.e., pilot after something, come up with a similar plan as Soldiers On. Do you see what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
He stated that they will have to work with the town to come up with a similar plan as Soldiers On's plan. Soldiers On plan was a pilot.
Okay.
So do you want to put in parentheses, i.e., comma, pilot, to clarify that?
Yeah, from the pilot.
Right, I mean, that's what was discussed,
Okay.
just to note it, that's what we discussed. Okay. Okay, I think that's all the corrections I found. Does anybody else have anything?
Yeah, I thought they were good-looking minutes, I didn't catch any of that.
Yeah, no, I think they're very good.
detail.
I think Lisa does a good job, it's just, sometimes it's for reading purposes, we might need a little
No.
comments, but other than that, they were good. All right, and I would entertain a motion to adopt.
So moved.
Okay, Butch,
Second.
Tom, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Those are approved. So now we are ready for a public hearing on application 108-107 for a variance, request for variance from lot size requirements for a two-family dwelling unit on a legal, non-conforming lot of record. Request by owner Edward Holbert of New Cape Equity Partners in Westchester, PA. Variance requested through Article 12, Section 1204.4 of the Plymouth zoning ordinance. Property is located in the northwest corner of Highland and Emerson Streets in the single-family residential zone. Okay, I'd like to ask the applicant to please come forward and speak.
Thank you. My name's Ed Holbert. I actually live in Hebron,
Okay,
New Hampshire. Our company was established in Pennsylvania. I'm here with my business partner, Pete Paoli, and a friend, Woody Miller.
okay,
And filed application to seek the variance to create a more conforming property by merging both lots that were pre-existing non-conforming lots.
okay. All right, so the variance, so you're requesting a variance from the lot size. Do you want to speak about your project, that the reason you want to merge?
Currently, the zoning is single-family residence. By merging the two lots, we're looking for the approval of a multifamily zoning.
So you'll be turning that building into a multifamily, the one that exists there right now.
Correct. By merging the two lots. The existing lot in the rear of the property, lot 154, and the existing lot that has a structure on it, 107.
Okay. All right, would anybody like to ask Mr. Holbert any questions?
Now, the lot that you're going to merge with, is that the one that's going to be with the parking?
No, I actually have, I put a site plan, do you have that copy? Yes.
Is that right?
Yes, the parking would take up more than 80% of the space on the existing structure, so what we'd be doing with the other lot is this complete green space. We would merge both lots and make that existing parcel behind us the green space.
Okay.
Questions?
Yeah, I mean, I guess this is 10 feet to an inch on the scale on this thing. This whole thing here is 10 feet to the inch.
Correct.
It's just a little bit high to get, so this piece that you're merging is like about 40 feet by 30 feet. And
I think it's
yeah, I saw that 0.2 acres. So that's,
0.23 acres, right?
so one would be 4,000, so it'd be like 8,000 square feet. And so when you've got, I saw your, well, do you want to talk about what's being constructed, or we're just looking at the land
Nope, well, the variance is for the lot merger, correct? But, I mean, I think we can talk about, what he plans to do there
Well,
and why it's being proposed. So you want to merge the lot, so you have a bigger,
To make it more conforming lot.
right, to make it a more conforming lot, but even when they're merged, the two lots will not be conforming, correct?
That's why I'm seeking the variance.
so you're conforming to the neighborhood? Is that what you
Yes.
mean?
Yes. I believe the surrounding neighborhood is multifamily. The cutoff is Emerson Street right there.
Yeah.
And
Well,
seeking to merge both lots to conform to that block.
okay. Well, it shows on our map here, it's like single family is on one side of Emerson Street and multifamily is on the other side.
Yeah.
And Civic Institutional is directly
And
across.
Civic,
I know, I mean,
right, is across, but
On your,
on this side, it's single family.
the special exception paperwork, I have an excerpt from the tax map.
They've cleaned that place up
is
nice.
here.
I know before it was a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, what was it? I saw that in your notes were really good. And I know it sounds like you like this plan too. I think it was a 4-bedroom, 2-bath.
The house?
Yeah,
Yes.
the prior use
Yes.
was. And so
Yes.
you want to make it a 6-bedroom, 2-family.
2 units, 3-bedroom, bath,
2 3-bedroom
2
units.
3-bedroom units.
Off the kitchen. So that's like, you're up 2 bedrooms from what you would have had before
Correct.
there. And so it's nice that you want to look at the thing so globally and integrate the other lot. I mean, that's a good idea. That renting is, well, it's hard, so you would mostly want to have college students.
Not necessarily. My goal would be just to follow the Fair Housing Act and just
Yeah, I know,
rent out
that's
the
like,
two
so I mean, I rent,
apartments.
and I get a lot of, my boyfriend and I, and, our 2-year-old, and, my 2-year-old, and maybe my boyfriend, and it's like, how would you regulate that it doesn't turn into be a, people taking rooms, because you're kind of renting rooms, aren't you?
Actually, it's 3 bedrooms, kitchen, bath.
That
on the
all
first
rents as
floor.
one unit?
As 1 unit, and the second floor would be the same. 3
So
bedrooms.
you got one,
2 baths.
one,
One entire unit living space.
one,
Plus bath,
one,
plus.
First
house.
floor, first floor unit, second floor unit. That would have 2 separate units. That
two
would-
separate units. So, but are you renting to different tenants in the first floor unit?
Yes.
Or is it one person supposed to take the whole 3 bedrooms and then sublet or whatever they're gonna do?
Well, I would control that. If I was going to be renting the property, I would manage it as the property manager.
So you'd have different people in each room. There could be, one student could take one room or one.
Not
separate-
necessarily, it could be a family of 2 or
Oh,
3.
A family could take the
Yes,
thing?
yes,
And
they
have a
could.
master bedroom and a room, each room for one of the kids like that?
Yes.
I think
It's tricky with
we speak in terms of dwelling units,
yep, I know,
which,
I know.
so that's any number of bedrooms, but, with other restrictions involved, but they're complete living units,
Yep.
as
They-
opposed to what you're talking, which is more of a rooming house type model, I think,
Yeah.
which is
That wouldn't
not
be the
being
case.
I saw the floor plan and there was somebody else talk here.
Yeah, anybody else have questions? I just note, I mean, it's pretty old home that's been, a single family for quite a while.
Yeah, okay.
It was a deteriorating home, and I've done a lot of work already.
Yeah,
Front porch, obviously,
Right.
started doing a lot of work in the inside. Heating system is intact.
What do they have there? I mean, did you put in new
It was about an 8-year-old oil-fired.
radiators
Steam.
or?
Steam heat.
Yeah, yep.
We also had a wood burner in there, but that's gone.
All right. Any questions? Omar? Butch?
Is there a second exit going to be a second exit out of the upstairs?
On the third floor? Oh, I mean on the second floor?
Yeah.
Well, the exit, I would follow the regulations as far as on the front porch. I don't know if that would be allowed an exit out the window of the front porch. And I believe only the one side of the house is only 20 feet above the ground. But if it's required, there would be an exit put on.
I'm kind of familiar with the house that's down in Carol Mossman's old house.
Correct, correct.
And you know, I guess I'm just concerned about a decent second exit out of that, because that's a pretty well, it's a pretty steep stairway, but the main stairway in the house. But I get
The door to enter the apartment upstairs, the unit upstairs, excuse me, dwelling upstairs, there would be a door there. Of course, I would have an exit, a secondary exit for them to get out on the second floor, whether that be out onto the porch roof or anything else that the zoning board would require me to put in.
Fire people, yeah.
Correct.
Okay. Okay.
You know, I'm back here and I went down and took a look at this. The thing that makes me the most nervous about this is that it's right on Main Street or Highland Street. And you mess up and you're gonna look at that. I can think back from the 80s. I could sit here and list you 4 places I wish I never got near. I wish I walked out of the room when we approved that. And so, just be careful, because that is right.
Glad to hear that, Tom. No.
Yeah. Well, it's just hard, when I look at the floor plan, you know, you got 3 bedrooms on the first floor, 3 bedrooms on the second floor, in a place that had 4 bedrooms before, and, you know. Okay.
Okay. Well, if anybody has,
one other thing, Madam Chairman. I mean, where you're planning to put the kitchen, and on both floor plans, there's no kitchen there. You're taking the kitchen,
Taking the existing kitchen out.
making a bedroom.
And making a bedroom there. And the kitchen will be, basically, the bottom unit, the dwelling on the bottom would be the same on the top, kitchen on the top. And there's already an existing bath on the bottom, and there's an also existing bath on the top.
The whole thing's 30 feet across, 40 feet across. How wide would the kitchen be, like 14, or? Have any idea how big this room is, that you got the kitchen and
I
then you
think
got your living
the
area?
dimensions are on there, so it's probably 20 feet by 22 feet, the kitchen area, and the living space there.
Anything closer than this? Have I got-
No, those are the only drawings.
That's it? Yeah.
you see it?
30 feet that way, 20.
Okay, so there's 1 bathroom on each floor and 1 kitchen on each floor,
Correct.
3 bedrooms.
Correct.
All right, anybody have any other questions? And I will open the public hearing on the variance for this property. Is there anybody who'd like to speak in favor of the proposal? Sure. Please identify yourself.
I'm Woody Miller,
Hi, Woody.
Plymouth resident. Hi, everybody. I think that this is the kind of responsible development that is in the benefit of the town. You have 2 pre-existing, non-conforming lots that the town has recognized for many years. One of the lots has been a real eyesore. This is a way to improve the whole site. Also, there is the potential that someone in the future could build on that other lot. It is an existing lot. We're very opposed to sprawl type of development. I think this is a good use, keeping that space green And I think that the board should be in favor of approving.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else who'd like to speak in favor of the development? Is there anybody who would like to speak in opposition to the variance? Yeah, Ms. Nielsen. Yeah, please, you can use the lectern if you want.
Hi, Janice Nielsen, 11 Rogers Street.
Mhm.
We've lived in Plymouth, my husband and I, for 32 years now. We lived 16 years over on Garland Street. And at that time, I attended a few board meetings like this. We experienced a lot of college sprawl. And when it got to the point where it was really interfering with the quality of life, we moved. And so we moved to Rogers Street because at that time, 16 years ago, 2001, there was no college sprawl, and it's one of the nicest single-family neighborhoods there in Plymouth, and we like Plymouth. We had many opportunities to move to another town, but we like the fact that you can walk to town. We like the fact that the kids can walk to school. We like the fact that single families are enjoying the neighborhood and getting to know each other. We have a block party where we live now every year. So there's a certain quality of life that we give up whenever we turn a single family dwelling into a multifamily dwelling. And to say that it might be rented to families is improbable at best, because the economics tell us that the college provides a much higher rent than a single family would be able to afford for the same unit, because it's usually charged per student per semester. When the house at 8 Emerson, which used to be the florist, came up for an approval, this board agreed against our protest that there should be permitted to be an in-law apartment created. And at the time,
I'm sorry, what did you say it got turned?
8 Emerson Street.
Yeah, what did it turn into?
An in-law.
It turned
In-law
originally,
apartment?
originally it was turned into an in-law apartment when the florist people lived there. And that made sense because there was a parent of someone who was living there. However, upon the sale of that dwelling, there was no way for anyone to rezone it back to a single family, and then that in-law apartment became a regular apartment. There are now 6 cars of permanent residents there every day, and often 2 or 3 more. So that brings a lot of traffic, a lot of noise, a lot of, just things happening in the neighborhood that are not conducive to the quality of life. I think that any time we go from a single-family dwelling to a multifamily dwelling, we are hurting both the town and the townspeople. Individually, because property values drop whenever a multifamily unit is created. All around, the single-family units, their prices drop. Young families really need housing that is affordable in order to enrich our town, and it's very difficult right now for young families to move in, because a lot of times the houses that they can afford are taken by people who want to rent them out to college students. So I mentioned 8 Emerson Street. Recently, 54 Pleasant sold. It was not turned into a multifamily dwelling, so that's a little bit different, but it is now being rented to college students, and it is a holy mess most of the time. Not right now because it's summer, but garbage, beer cans, food, trash, you name it, all the time. And so it has now really deteriorated that neighborhood further, and I feel sorry. I feel very sorry for the residents there. Collectively, I think it hurts our town because we then create a situation where fewer and fewer families live in town, and therefore fewer and fewer families are walking to town or walking to school or doing all the things that we love about Plymouth. The spiral of this is created too, because as single family homes then drop in price, those same houses become even more of a bargain for landlords to buy to rent to college students. And so then that is a self-perpetuating vicious circle. And eventually, that also affects the tax revenue for schools. And so collectively, we're looking at even less revenue because of this situation for our schools that we love. So I am completely opposed to this proposal on any level. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Janet. Anyone else? Mrs. Hedberg.
Hi, I'm Katie Hedberg, 18 Emerson Street, and I beg to differ. It is generally a single-family residential neighborhood, and I won't repeat many of the things that Mrs. Nielsen said. I appreciate that you've made the house look better. It was in a state of disrepair, but I do have a couple of issues in addition to what Mrs. Nielsen said. In terms of the lots, the lot that is green, I don't know if you've walked in there, but it is all wet and water. I don't know if it's officially a wetland, but I think that that would be an issue with anything going in there. Having had little children who like to explore, I have been almost up to my knees in water in different seasons there. So I would request that that be looked in to see if it is actually a wetland site and if we need to protect that and if there needs to be other remediation. There is a stream that goes through the back at different seasons, and I think that if we fill that all in, we may be lending other homes on the street to water damage, which we don't currently have. And it appears that there is a stream that flows through there. The house across the street does have a sump pump that runs all year long. Even during the drought last summer, it was running, so there's some underground water that's running through there. I think that we have watched, as Mrs. Nielsen said, the college creep. We also have a very unsightly, huge dorm that is now encroaching in our neighborhood. And I fear for the rest of the neighborhood. We have had some lovely single-family development in the circle behind us on Batchelder and Randolph. Lovely young families. It's great to see it vibrant. I know Mr. Cushing sees the same families come by and watch the neighborhoods rejuvenate with children. Those homes would be negatively affected by all of this. And it just goes to show all of the other pieces how it could negatively affect our schools and our income. I do worry with the dorm being so close and walking up the street that our homes are going to lose their value and we won't be able to sell them. I will say we're a family that when we bought our house 20 years ago, it was a single family home, and it was a two-family home, and about 15 years ago, we took the apartment out and opened a stairwell down to the bottom for a single-family home. I know I've spoken to Mr. Murphy about that. It may still be on the tax rolls as a two-family home, but it has been many years since it's been that, and he assured me it was now counted as a single-family home. I think that our town benefits from having single-family residence neighborhoods. It brings so much to the town when we watch our families grow up, and it would be sad to watch these families leave. I also have just stepped off the school board after being on for 12 years, and the school is truly at a tipping point of the number of students and the demographics of the town. And if we start losing more neighborhoods, it will drastically affect our schools and what we can provide. So I am, as much as I appreciate the house looking nice, I am really opposed to this just for the nature of our town. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else?
Would it be possible to view the layout?
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
Essentially Meriden.
Oops, this is a draft. Do we have somebody?
Thanks.
Can you see it? You need to see it? Okay.
I've been in the house a number of times over the years. Viking Hedberg, actually, we met. And I really appreciate what you did with the porch.
Thank you.
It looks nice. I'm 18 Emerson Street. My wife, my neighbors across the street are all here. The single-family nature of our neighborhood really has changed, and I think Rick Knoll's house, which is 8 Emerson, has become party central. Last spring fling, my wife came home to someone in broad daylight urinating in our garden. We've had people come Sunday morning looking for romantic partner cell phones in our backyard. And that's a change really since that home and also the one where the Bermans are owning, although that's not a party house. Now, looking at the layout, you can't really do a party there because it's just going to be bedrooms and it's essentially an eat-in kitchen for each thing. So the opportunity really would only be for college students or low-income families. No families of any substance would be able to, because it's a comfortable single-family home as it stands. So I think that would be really changing the neighborhood. And not that I don't want you to have a good business opportunity, and I also want to see folks willing to invest in Plymouth. I applaud that. Seeing dilapidated houses is not what we want to see. But it's in a single-family residence. Next door, the Kilfoyles are single-family. There's a number of single families along that street. There's a number of multifamilies as well, but I think it's at that tipping point. I think that decision that you make here is pretty important for which way that neighborhood will go. So I'll leave it at that. So thank you, and thank you for your service on the committee.
Okay, is there anybody else who'd like to speak? Any neutral comments? Any comments at all? All right, I will close. Oh, yes? Yes, ma'am? No, go ahead.
Anita Wilkie,
Okay.
16 Emerson Street. And what these folks have said, they said it very well. And what Viking just talked about as far as what's going on in the neighborhood with kids walking the streets. It is awful now during college session. The street is not patrolled at all, it seems like. And at 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, the kids don't just walk the street to get to wherever they're going. They're yelling, they're swearing, they're urinating on the lawns, they're throwing their beer bottles. It would be different if they were courteous going through our neighborhood, but they're not. And it just seems like when you start talking about changing something and making it multifamily, it is going to change. If it doesn't change right off, sooner or later it's going to change, and there's going to be college kids in there. And I'm just finding that it has. I've lived there since I was 10 years old, and on that street a long time, and it has gotten progressively worse as far as the college goes. And if that could be taken care of, it would be one thing, but I don't think it has happened, nor will it happen.
Okay. Well, thank you, Mrs. Wilkie. Yes, sir.
Yes, with respect to everyone's position here. My name is Pete Paoli. I'm also a business partner in New Cape Equity, so I'm obviously on that side of the equation, okay? First of all, it's not our intention just to rent this to college students, just to be clear about that. For right now, we could put 3 college unrelated parties in that building, should we choose to right now, okay? There's also a hospital across the street that, by the way, has an interest in renting that building, okay? For doctors that come into town and for other parties that use the facility there, okay? We have spoken to the hospital about that, and they have an interest in renting the facility. It is right across the street from that hospital. The second thing is, with the other lot, it is our understanding, and we will certainly check into the wetlands and other that obviously could be potentially, and so we'll just use that word right now, a buildable lot, okay? To build another house there, okay, creates a lot more congestion on that street. We don't plan to expand the dwelling that is 56 Highland Avenue right now. We plan to keep that dwelling the same size. Obviously, we'd add some parking, but that entire lot that we think is a buildable lot will now become part of 56 Highland Avenue and forever be deeded as that, okay? And we will turn it into a beautiful common space for the neighborhood, okay? In a place that, I don't know if you've seen it lately, but it has a lot of old decaying trees that are on that property right now and don't add any value to the neighborhood whatsoever. My partner has done a pretty good job out of the box in terms of, and I want to respect is it Mr. McLaughlin? Is that your? Okay. I want to respect your point too, where you said that you walked out of here and at times you said, hey, I wish we hadn't done that. We're not going to change the exterior, the front exterior of that property that faces Main Street, other than beautifying that property, okay?
I think you have already. I didn't mean to imply that I think your plan is pretty well laid out. I like your configuration on the exterior. It's just, well, anyhow, go ahead. Finish.
No, so, but I just want to make sure I addressed your point that we've already put a new roof on the property. We've obviously put a front deck that was collapsing. Literally, part of that house was collapsing on that property. And I think if you've looked at a couple of the other properties that my partner has done here, they are dramatically better than the house that he walked into previously when we purchased them. And they have dramatically improved the neighborhood and by the way, have improved the real estate prices of the neighborhood as well. So our desire is not just to put 6 college kids in there, and I understand that you have a problem with college students. I'm sorry about that. We could put college students in there now anyhow. That's not the purpose. The purpose is to create a nicer looking facility that faces that Main Street, potentially use it with the hospital, and make sure that we conform in anything that's necessary, whether that is an exterior entrance on the 2nd floor or anything relative to the zoning that is necessary for the multifamily homes. One more point I just want to make. If you look at the multifamily, and Ed, you don't have that colored copy of the one you showed me today. It's a color version. It's almost an overhead shot. It's an overhead version of all the homes in the neighborhood. And if you look at the multifamily homes just across the street, that's it. If you want to show them that, if you look at the multifamily homes across the street, they're all on considerably smaller lots than what we have. And again, our desire is to merge those 2 lots to make a more conforming lot.
Right.
Good picture.
Okay, well, thank you. We appreciate your input.
Thank you for your time.
Mm-hmm. You want to see that? You guys can see that? It's interesting.
Yeah, I'd like to.
Okay, I'm going to close the public here. Oh, yes, Mr. Nielsen.
One comment to make. My name is Jeff Nielsen. Jan spoke earlier. She's my wife. Just remembering back, and it is a matter of having been in town as long as we have, that oftentimes the best laid plans, we then see what it is that has happened. And on Garland Street, it was pretty obvious that there were 4 single-family homes, small Cape Cod size homes, that one became the home for a hockey team, and just on, so that there were cars parked on the lawn. There was never enough parking, and that was really too bad because it was a small street where kids could play out in the neighborhood. And I feel as though it's very similar where we are on Rogers Street, that not only our kids but our neighbors' kids have been able to play out in the street as well. And I'm quite alarmed, in fact, by the fact that this traffic circle in town has meant that people will come up High Street and come up down Emerson Street way too fast. But that's another whole issue.
Yeah.
I do want to, though, speak to this fact about the hospital and how they've extended some offer, perhaps, to house medical personnel. At the lower end of Emerson Street, we had a medical person purchase a house very inexpensively and do a lot of work to fix it up. And then rent it to 3 college students. So it happens, and we've been here for 30 years. We've watched it happen time and time and time and time again. I can understand why you want to do it.
These would be renters on the property, not purchasers of property, where they could sublet it.
I can understand why one wants to put college students into a housing. It certainly makes a lot of sense economically. It's just that if that's what we choose to do, then Plymouth has a different kind of character. And I think that's what the decision's about.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Nielsen. Yes?
Could I just make 2 points? First,
Sure.
we're talking about a property on Highland Street. There's a lot of discussion about Emerson.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The lot that we're merging is an Emerson address. So that would be part of the Highland Street address. Second of all, regarding the woman's comment about the wetlands problem, I've talked to the Highway Department, and there was some discussion, I guess, maybe last year, about getting some funding to fix Emerson because you have a swale there.
Mm-hmm.
The water that is entering that property is coming from Highland Street and also from the hospital. And if you take a look at any time when they empty the fire hydrants or when it rains, it makes a left-hand turn into the curb cut of that property and creates the wetland.
Hmm.
And we are willing, along with the site plan there, to do anything to assist the highway department to put either a culvert in there or some type of drain to assist in the water problem on Emerson Street.
Okay. All right, thank you. And I note that we have a letter from our highway Fagnet in our
$4,000
materials.
was for the survey that he was suggesting for topo survey, like?
Right. I think it was for a survey
If I get that,
to fit. For a detailed survey for Emerson would be roughly 4,000. This would help.
What does that mean, the detailed survey, the drainage survey?
Yes, they have to run a camera down the drainage, and a lot of times
I
they
guess to
can't.
figure out how
because
to fix
it
the
must be
problem.
old clay pipe, and I think it's given up over the course of time. But even Mr. Tursky, who was in to convert his place to two-family, touched on the drainage issue, and I think that he provided some historical background that when there was work done on Highland at the intersection, that's one of the reasons that his sump pump is running constantly, is because everything is pushed underground. And with the failure of the drainage there, and anybody that's driven down Emerson is aware of it, you know, it tends to stay up on top instead of making a quick way down and then out to the river.
Okay. All right, thank you. Mrs. Hedberg?
I was just gonna say, the point I'm talking about is not the water that's coming, but if you walked from the back across from Randolph and Bouchelder, there's a stream through there and water comes the other direction. Also, it's not the water draining. There may be some from the road in, but there's also water coming from the other direction. And
Okay.
that was my point.
Okay, so from Randolph and
You know, and I don't know
Batchelder.
where it's coming from, but
Right.
there is a stream during the spring months.
Okay. All right, thank you. Okay, I am going to close the public hearing on the variance, and I will ask the board to make some findings.
All right, this variance is on the combining the lots,
Yep.
right?
Variance
What we're just
is,
talking about combining the lots.
right, to combining lots. Two lots, both lots are legal non-conforming. Lots of record. One is .27 acres. And the second one on Emerson is .20 acres. Okay, for combined acreage of .47. Okay, and the zoning requirement for single-family homes is .5 acres. What other facts do we have?
It's gonna keep it as green space.
Second lot is intended to be kept as green space.
The existing building is set inside the, what do you call them, setbacks, you know?
Okay,
Do we
existing
have setback?
building?
Yeah, a single family would have 15-foot setback and 30, huh? Because this has like very small setback on the front and no setback on the side. Right to the edge of the road.
Okay, so what do you want to say, Tom? Existing building is
You know,
within?
It's just, has no setback on Emerson, and,
Setback.
what would be the normal front setback? Is it 30 feet on?
It's a two frontage setback, so it's 30 and 30.
It has two frontage setbacks? Okay. Well, anyhow, it's just the existing building is a non-conforming for setbacks.
Right, the existing building is also
That just takes care
non-conforming.
of that.
Right. And what is the age of the building? It's 18-something. 1875, thank you. Built in 1875. So before our zoning, way before our zoning existed.
So you got that it was existing 4-bedroom, and then he was going to 4 and 2. What was it, 4 and 1 before?
Well, it's going to 6, but we don't, I think, well, I guess we should put that, right? Present use is,
Yeah, 4-bedroom.
4-bedroom.
1 bath.
2-bath,
Oh, okay.
home, a single-family home,
And he wants to make it 6-bedroom, 2 bath.
to be converted to, 2-home.
Yeah.
Two-family home.
Yeah,
is what the
2,
application-
2-family home. 2-family home with 3 bedrooms, 1 bath, and 1 kitchen each.
But that's what makes me nervous, Madam Chairman, about this. That's more to be in the second application that they've got before us.
Right.
But that's what, I know that's what the intent is, but again, following up on
Right.
Butch's initial comment, we're only talking about merging these
Right.
two lots. That's all that this
Right.
is
That's
about.
right.
Where do you get that? What is this?
I mean, we have to,
We're merging the two lots for
Right.
the creation of a 2-unit building.
right,
You
well,
can't disentwine them.
Yeah,
You're giving them a variance from needing 1 acre of land to having a little under a half acre
Right.
land. And that's what we're giving them the variance for a 2-unit building. If this was 2 blank lots,
right,
this would be a
Right.
borderline adjustment.
right, right. So, I mean, I think it's
And I don't know if you can
appropriate to
untwangle
make,
those like that.
yeah, to make a
That's what I'm looking for,
finding.
the clarification.
Okay.
Yeah, I
You
think it's
agree with that,
appropriate.
Brian, or what?
to make that finding,
They-
because that's what
They
the
are
application.
inextricably linked.
Yeah,
Typically, we run the variance first because the.
Yeah,
it's-
it has
it's
to
more-
get that.
It's harder to obtain.
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
okay.
But yeah, there was a lot of discussion that is away from the actual fact of what's on the table, but it all applies to it.
It's all for that purpose, so, any other facts? How about, second lot is presumably buildable,
Oh,
but,
yep, go ahead.
but,
I mean,
but,
I think when
wetlands,
they start telling you that it gets flooded when the high school drainage and the Highland Street drainage goes there, and then other neighbors, old neighbors, tell you that
right,
you walk around back, I think it's more presumably that it could be wet than it is that it's buildable.
okay. Well, but, well,
I mean, we
I
don't
think,
have any detail on this.
right, we don't have any studies, but I'm just saying, second lot is presumably buildable, but wetness issue,
It's unknown.
is unknown. Yeah, wetness, wetness issue exists. All right, and anyone else? All right, before we go through our criteria. Well, this is the special exception, right? Here's the variance, okay. All right, let's go down our variance criteria. Number 1, granting the variance will not diminish the value of surrounding properties.
Oh, where's that colored picture there? Can I see that again?
Oh, do you have-
Great.
Oops, sorry.
I'm trying to think where those new homes are down in back there.
The new homes
What was that, over by Wixon's, where Wixon's?
Quite a ways, quite a ways.
on,
Like way down
on,
here, or where?
is it Batchelder or Randall?
They're over here, right?
Right, if you
this
come
is
up,
this-
and it's right at the top.
Oh, okay. Hmm. And right next to this one, right across from there, what's this place?
Is across from there, isn't that where the dentist used to be?
No, this one here.
Single-family home.
That's a single?
Multi.
It's like the other
Yeah,
side.
I know that they're.
Right
yeah,
next door
they
is
went in there.
single
Church,
family.
just for good measure.
In a church?
Yes.
What's the bid to
Okay,
me?
so, yeah, I'm going to start with you, Tom. Granting the variance will not.
Start with me.
Do you want Omer to be brave? Granting the variance will not diminish the value of surrounding properties.
Oh, man, I'd like to hear somebody else's opinion on that. That's like,
Okay,
I don't know what to say there. That's if I had a single family right next door.
Omer, okay. Granting, so we're issuing this first variance, granting the,
Yep.
or first criteria, granting the variance will not diminish the value of surrounding properties.
Yeah,
I will say that's false.
I'd say that's
I-
false.
And I would
I don't know why
note
that
that
neighbor isn't here.
it's a buffer property. And based on my experience in living in Plymouth, this has happened repeatedly, that it really it is a tidal wave once the buffer property goes, and it
Well,
can cause,
that's
it really
kind of
can diminish the neighborhood quickly. So that is my rationale, and I want to note that for the record.
Yep.
Anybody else have an opinion?
That's a serious thing. This looks like a plan, and these guys look like they've gone about it real responsibly, and they care about that old house and want to make the place look good.
Right.
But unfortunately, there's other ones down the street that are gonna point right up at this one and go, you gave that to them. And, anyhow, I agree. I think that's false on the first one.
Okay, so two false. Butch?
True.
Okay, and Omer?
I'm going to have to say it's false. The discussion that I've heard, and as for the clarification, the application says it's for a two-family. And knowing what, and I think we got burned a year and a half ago as well. But if you've got 3 bedrooms upstairs, 3 bedrooms downstairs, you could put two students per bedroom in there. And you've got some parking spaces, and your application says you're gonna have, plenty of parking spaces for extra people. I guess I'm just nervous about the concerns of the neighbors and what I'm seeing adversely affecting our neighborhoods in Plymouth as well. So I think my response would be false to that.
Okay, all right, thank you. Number 2, the variance will not be contrary to the public interest.
No, I think that's false too. That's just for all the reasons we just got through with.
Okay, I would say false.
I would say false because of the public participated in sharing their.
Okay,
Well, they're so lucky. They got such a good location away with the hospital across the street and, a couple of one-bedroom, a couple of studios in there or something that was, considering they had 4 bedrooms before. I should think that those 2 places would rent out really quick, people working at the hospital.
okay. And Omer?
I'm going to say false.
Okay, so that's 4 false here. Okay, now number 3, denial of the variance would result in unnecessary hardship to the applicant upon proof that A, the zoning restriction as applied to the applicant's property interferes with the applicant's reasonable use of the property, considering the unique setting of the property in its environment. Do you want me to read that again, Tom?
Sure.
Okay, denial of the variance would result in unnecessary hardship to the applicant.
No,
On-
I don't think so. He's said himself that he's got the hospital, he's got a great location there. There's other alternatives than just
Okay,
going
false,
with, you know,
okay.
doubling up or
Other al-
150% of the bedrooms.
Alternatives available. Okay, I agree that it's false.
False.
Okay, Butch?
Ready for me?
Yep, Omer?
I'm going to say false as well.
Okay. All right. All right, under B, there is no fair and substantial relationship exists between the general purposes of the zoning ordinance and the specific restriction on the property. Is that true or false?
I always had trouble with that one.
Yeah.
It's like confusing. The restriction on the property is that he can have,
Well,
he can't have 2 units. He's got a single family that
well,
is conforming to lot size. because
well, it's not
existing.
conforming. It's
It's not
pre-existing,
conforming.
right, so,
Because it's existing.
Right,
It's
the
just like
restriction-
setbacks don't hurt it, because it's existing.
right, right.
But,
It's
yeah,
the,
no, there's a rationale to that. That's the way the
Right.
thing is. I mean, it
well,
it is, it applies to it like that.
okay, so what are you saying? It's false?
That that's false, yeah,
Okay.
that there is no correlation, there is.
Yeah, okay, I also agree that that's false. I believe that the lot size, in allowing a non-conforming property on that non-conforming piece of property is okay, and I would just note that even adding the merger, we end up with a lot size that's still less than what a single-family home should be on under the zoning ordinance. So I think the zoning ordinance does this to control density and neighborhoods, and I feel it's a very fair restriction. Okay. Butch?
False.
Okay. And Omer?
And again, based upon the totality of the circumstances that I've heard here this evening, I've got to say that's false as well.
Okay. All right, that's 4 false. C, the variance would not injure the public or private rights of others.
Well, there's some people here that think it would injure their rights. They came in and told us that. So, false.
Okay, I agree that's false based on the public testimony and history of conversion of buffer properties, especially in our neighborhoods. Which,
False.
okay, Omer?
False.
Okay, that's 4 false. And 4, granting the variance would do substantial justice.
False.
I believe that's false.
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 Okay. And again, a rationale for that would be that there are other alternatives, perfectly legal alternatives for the use of that property that would be very lucrative. Number 5, the use will not be contrary to the spirit and intent of the ordinance.
False.
I also agree that's false.
False.
And I say false as well.
Okay. And we believe that the spirit and intent of the ordinance is to preserve the neighborhoods, single-family neighborhoods, and separate commercial use and civic and institutional. So, okay. Do I need a motion to
Yes, you do.
resolve? Yeah, okay. I would entertain a motion as it's pretty clear that we do not feel the request meets the variance criteria. So I would entertain a motion to deny the variance.
So moved.
I second that motion, Madam Chair.
Omer, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Sorry for the requesters, but we feel that we can't ignore the public testimony and our knowledge of what's occurred in our town over and over again. So we're very sorry about that. Okay, now, what do? We move on to the special exception.
Is this kind of moot or what?
Yeah, well, that's what I'm asking. It's up to the applicant.
Do you want to just withdraw
Well-
this, or what do you want to do? I mean, it's just the same thing over again.
Well, it's different criteria.
What?
It's different criteria, but without the, I mean, without the variance is what's needed. Is that Mr. Murphy? Is that what's, we should withdraw the special exception?
It's the option of the applicant.
It's, if they want us to go through the criteria, and, it's a
It's
different,
non-conforming, so you'd be making something more non-conforming than it already is. It's kind of a moot point.
right. I don't know.
It's up to the applicant, however.
We'll withdraw. I'm not gonna put you through the trouble of this. We'll withdraw. Yes, we'll
Withdraw, okay, all right, well, thank you, and I'm sorry it didn't go your way, but I appreciate your working through the process.
Sorry, Ed.
Viking?
This is a single-family home. The idea of making it a very nice single-family home would be welcomed. And I'm wondering if joining that property for the purpose of a single-family home would be good.
No.
We're not going to do that.
Thank you very much for your
Thank
time this
you.
evening.
Yep,
Much
thank you
appreciated.
very much. Okay. All right, let's see. And we have any unfinished business? Mr. Murphy, anything, any unfinished?
Just the question that was laid to the planning board from the last session. Residential uses are residential uses, no matter the numbers. So you look at that first, and then you go to the others. So the similarity of use. The question was, if you recall, about the 30-unit Soldier on
Right.
or Harbor Homes. And the chairman brought up the point at the end that it wasn't expressed in the zoning ordinance. The guidance that's given there is strictly for special exceptions, because they don't list variances. If you think about the nature of a variance, it would be an
Right.
infinite list.
Right, well,
So-
or, yeah, unknown list,
Well,
because you
that's
don't
what I
know what
mean,
people are
because,
gonna ask
yeah, you
to
never
break the
know, and they're
ordinance.
always a little bit different. So you have to look at the underpinnings first, and then build from there. So
Okay.
that was what they came up with.
Okay, so the planning board wasn't offended, or, that, what I was
They
worried
were a little
about.
puzzled, but
Yeah.
they weren't offended.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. All I cared about was the actual language in the ordinance says something about it's the planning board that decides if something's not in the ordinance, whether
Right.
it
But
can
that,
go.
if you read the language around that you brought up, there's no mention at all of variances. And if you think about the nature
Right.
of variances,
Right.
you can see why they wouldn't be enumerated, because
Right.
they're all different.
Right, exactly.
So when they get the
Yeah, they're all
ones that are
exceptions.
similar use, so, if I want to do X,
Mm-hmm.
and, but I need a special exception for it, if it's not clear to you
Mm-hmm.
that special exception use is in one of the enumerated uses,
Mm-hmm.
or similar enough that anybody could see it, that would kick it back to the planning board. But the
Okay.
nature of the variances alone means that you
Right.
have to make that determination. Well, you don't even need to make the determination, because it's a request from out of the blue.
Okay, well, thank you for clarifying that, Brian, and bringing it to them. I appreciate
Yes,
it. We
my
just
pleasure.
didn't want to overstep our bounds,
You guys got more power than they do, in certain respects, so.
Motion to adjourn or what?
New business?
Oh, I'm
Any
sorry,
new
I thought that
business?
was it.
Nope. Communications and other business?
I would like to ask you to think about anybody that you know that would like to fill a seat on a citizen board. I've already
Okay.
put an ad up on Pemmy Baker TV.
Okay. All right, and we could just make that plea right now to anybody sitting at home, if you're interested in serving on our zoning board.
Is it
We
with
are,
this August group
we
or the
are
other?
always welcome. We would love people to join us and get started as an alternate. It's really not intimidating, and then as you learn, you can move into one of our hot seats.
Right. Sit to the left of the chair.
Right. Okay, now I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, all right, it is 8:05.
Very good.
Thank
very
you to
much.
Pemmy.